Hi, I'm Dave, and I know wrestling. Do you want an AEW wrestler who gets into backstage fights? Do you want an AEW wrestler that has a history of being difficult to work with? And do you want an AEW wrestler that has serious beef with Eddie Kingston? And no, I'm not talking about CM Punk. Then allow me to introduce to you my client for Dave Knows Wrestling's honest promos, Sammy Lame, just another typical flippy AEW wrestler. Sam I am going to need a lot of sensitivity training. Samuel Guevara or Sammy Guevara. Behold, a wrestler that everyone treats like some kid that's going to be great when he grows up, despite him almost being 30 years old. Perhaps one of the reasons why people think of him as a kid is because he somehow manages to look like a non-Asian K-pop star. Oh, and also the fact that he's a giant brat. Because when it comes to his behavior, let's not forget about the awful things that he said about Sasha Banks. And while his defenders will say that he was a young kid at the time, let's not forget that he was actually a full-grown adult way past no better age. And now that we've brought this up, is it any wonder why Mercedes Moné isn't in AEW right now? Oh, and also, Samuel said he would do the same thing to Hannah Montana. But I know, he's had sensitivity training as a result of these comments. But personally, I think it's a little weird he had to be taught not to say he wants to rape people. Furthermore, even after he learned sensitivity, apparently there's a lot more you could teach him about social skills, as he got into backstage altercations with both Andrade and Eddie Kingston. Hey Tony, you notice the common denominator around here? You know, it's funny. CM Punk can get into one fight backstage and all of a sudden he's a bully. Meanwhile, Sammy Guevara can work everybody's last nerve and somehow he's a pillar. Oh, and about that, I thought a pillar was supposed to be a main support, something that serves as the very foundation of a structure. If that's the case, the AEW building sure is looking really lopsided. Now, don't just think that it's members of the AEW roster that Sammy has beef with, as he's also managed to piss off the entirety of Impact Wrestling. Because during All Elite's crossover with the former TNA, there were plans to have Sammy compete in the X Division, which he outright refused to do. You see that? Vince McMahon's not the only one who could screw up an invasion, although this is not to say that Samuel is completely incapable of being a part of a pleasant union. Too bad it's one that nobody wants, as his on-screen and real-life relationship with Tay Mello has brought many fans to nauseam, especially considering that a lot of people had a few questions when it came to overlap between Sammy's ex and Tay. Man, how awkward would a feud between Tay Mello and Mercedes Moné be? In the end, if you want a wrestler who keeps getting hit by golf carts, a wrestler who broken Matt Hardy so bad that he went back to being normal, and a wrestler who, unlike CM Punk, learned that you could get away with getting the backstage fights as long as you kiss Chris Jericho's ass. Then allow me to introduce to you my client for Dave Knows Wrestling's honest promos, Eddie Kingston and Andrade's next tag team opponent, Chris Jericho's inner circle kisser. I'll take therapist for 200, Alex. Samuel Guevara or Sammy Guevara. If you've had a history of making rape jokes, I highly suggest you stop using a move called the Spanish Fly.